Hey YouTube, it's me Imani. I have to apologize that this video is up so late. It has been highly requested and I've been dying to make this video. But as you guys know, we just moved into the apartment, I would say about 2 months ago now, a little over 2 months. And we are just now kind of settling in, still don't have everything. But we're settled in enough that I can start doing my recreational stuff again, like the gym and YouTube. I wanted to give you guys just an overview of my process of how I got into my apartment, which as you guys know is affordable housing, New York City affordable housing, and give you guys some like tips and tricks on how to increase your chances of getting called back and not getting disqualified. So pretty much my process started over 3 years ago, and to give you guys more of a timeline, I started applying to all different types of affordable housing when I found out that I was pregnant. And my son AJ just turned 3 yesterday. So yeah, it's been a while. If you are looking for an apartment right away, this is probably not the process for you. So fast forward about 3 years later, I applied to this building that I'm in now in late March. I know that the application went out for this building, I would say probably early to late March, and I was really fortunate because I was kind of slacking on the website for a little bit. So when I did log back onto the website, I noticed this building and the application was closing like 2 days later. So I just, put my application in and did like I did with every other building. I just put it in. I didn't think about it because I honestly never thought that I'd get called back for affordable housing. So fast forward, I applied late March. I qualified for a 1 or 2 bedroom for a 2-person household. Not thinking about it at all, I checked my personal email and I see an email with this building, like the company or whatever, and them telling me that they have randomly chosen my application for further processing. And that was, I would say, in late June. I think it was like the last week of June. So you figure about 3 months later, which is actually is really quick in this like for affordable housing, the whole process. Because some people, there are buildings that I never got called back for that I qualified for, and there's another building that I qualified for during this time that I did get a call back for, and it was like 10 months later. So the email told me that I would have to choose a date to come in for my interview, but they pretty much told me that I would have to come in like 2 weeks later. I could just choose like a time within that 2 weeks to come in. So I only had 2 weeks to get all my documents ready that they put in the email, all the things that you would have to bring. But I only had 2 weeks to do that, and of course I had to take time off work because you can't go to the interview on a Saturday or Sunday. So like I said, there was another building that I qualified for that I got a call back. I had applied to last October of 2016, and during this process for this building, they called me back. After my interview for this building, they called me back like late July. So as you see, that's a long time, especially compared to this building. So pretty much I'm playing the waiting game. I submit all my documents at the interview, which every building is different because both the buildings that I went to an interview for, they had different things on the list that they wanted me to bring. Some of them were very similar, and then there were like other things that were very different. So for this building, I submitted all my documents and I was waiting. I waited, I would say, all summer. I had the interview early July, and I didn't hear anything back from them in August or September. So it wasn't until I would say maybe the second week of September that I got a call back to submit more documents. Pretty much, I guess they got back to my file or something, and I had to resubmit some documents. For example, I had to resubmit my bank statements from my checking account. Like I had to resubmit my most recent pay stubs, things like that, I guess, for them to see if I still qualified for the building. So after that, after I submitted my documents, I got a call from affordable housing saying that they approved me and that they were going to move me to the next step of the process, which was to submit my documentation to the city. and then I would have to wait like another 2 weeks or so for the city to approve me. I would say it actually didn't even take them 2 weeks to approve me. About a week later, I'm getting a call that the city approved me, and that the next step was for me to view the apartment. They already had an apartment set aside. They have the apartment set aside for everyone, so they had my apartment already set aside. I just had to come view it and approve it myself. I had to say yes to it. For me to actually get it, sign the lease, and get my keys. So at the end of September, it was actually September 30th to be precise, I signed my lease and I picked up my keys, and we moved in officially October 9th. So that was my whole process. It seems very simple, but it was a headache. It was a headache. The waiting game, I think, is the hardest part of it all. So I wouldn't say that I'm some expert at affordable housing. Again, I've been applying for 3 years and only got 2 calls back, so I'm no like expert on improving chances to get called. I do have a few tips on how you can improve your chances on getting called, but this is mainly to help you improve your chances of not getting disqualified, which happens to people a lot. So of course, the first thing you want to do is make a profile on Housing Connect. Again, I'll put the link below because it's like more than just like housingconnect.com. I can't even remember right now, but I'll put the link below. But you want to make a profile, and making a profile is pretty much who you are, who might be living in the apartment, not might, but who will be living in the apartment with you, your income, any other type of income coming in, like child support, any like assets you may have, and things like that. I can't remember every single thing that's on the application, on the profile. My next tip for you guys is apply to as many buildings as you qualify for. Not as you can, but as you qualify for. One, because you can't get in the game, you can't win if you don't get in the game. You know what I mean? And I say that you qualify for because I think people just like apply to every single building, but if you don't qualify for that building, you're gonna automatically get disqualified for it, and then that just makes the process for that building go even longer for somebody else who might qualify for the building. So that's kind of like one of those don't be selfish type of things. Apply to buildings that are in your community board. So first thing you need to find out is what community board you live in. So for example, let's say you live in community board 2, and I would kind of look around your neighborhood to see if they have any new buildings coming up, and if they do, check the affordable housing website to see if that building is on that website and if they're offering apartments for affordable housing. One thing that the case manager told me at my interview the second time when I resubmitted my documents was that a big reason why I got called back for this building is because the building I'm in now is in the same community board that I was living in before. They actually put aside a percentage of apartments for people who live in the community board. Another thing, please don't quit. Don't quit when you're applying, because like I said, I've been applying for 3 years, and if I had just like I said, I was really slacking on applying at one point, and if I had like completely quit or just like stopped looking at the website, I would have missed this building and would have missed my chance. Once you apply and once the application period is over, you're gonna get a log number, and through some research that I've done, I've realized that your log number is very, very, very important. My log number for this building was like, I can't remember the exact number, but let's say it was like 1,200. And that's really important because once you have your log number, it turns out that, and again, I'm going based off research that I've done on my own, so I can't say it's 100% accurate, but a lot of people seem to say the same, that they go in order of log number. So my number was 1,200, which means that all the applications, 1,199 applications they looked at before mine, and that's not to say that they saw 1,199 people. They went to see what applications still qualified and didn't, and a lot of people end up getting disqualified because they're just applying to buildings that they don't qualify for. So if your log number is kind of low, then you have a better chance of getting a call back for an interview, especially if you have all the other preferences like community board. I believe also like if you work for the city, and some other things too that the building might be looking for. Please make sure that whatever email and whatever phone number you have on your profile is still the same as when you applied, because a lot of the time people qualify for buildings and the case managers will try to reach out to them to say you have an interview, and they either don't pick up, don't respond to the message, or they don't reply to the email. And let me tell you, in a process like this, you pretty much have like this amount of time to get back to them before they move on to the next person. So that's another way of getting disqualified. Super, super important. Make sure you have all your documentation. It's hard to know what documents you may need before the actual interview, but the documents that I needed for both of my interviews that were the same were pretty much your birth certificates for every person that's going to live in the apartment, social security numbers, a photo ID for anyone who's over the age of 18. You're going to need at least 6 pay stubs, so that means you should be working for at least like 3 months or so. You need your tax returns. This building, I only needed last year's tax return, but the other building wanted me to have 3 years of my prior tax return. So I would say try to have like the last 3 to 4 years of tax returns. Your current lease for the building that you're in now. If your name's not on the lease, then they're gonna want whoever's name is on the lease to write you a letter stating that you do actually live there. A letter from your employer stating that you actually do work there. Yes, I know, pay stubs, you would think that'd be enough, but they want more. If you've quit a job, which I actually did quit a job, from the time that I had applied to this building to the time that I actually got it, they wanted me to also have a letter from my former employer stating that I actually quit that job. If you have life insurance, they're gonna want your life insurance, what's that thing? Statements for everyone in the household. If you have a 401k, they're gonna want your 401k info. If you're getting child support, they're gonna want to get that info as well. If anyone is in school, they're gonna want a letter from your child's school. And again, anything else that the building wants you to provide. But just make sure you have all that stuff now while you're applying, because again, they only give you 2 weeks from the time that they reach out to you to the time that you need to interview with them. And that's a really short amount of time to get all that important documentation. Make sure you submit all your documentation on time, pretty much when you go to the interview. But if you don't have like every single thing, and they'll let you know if there's still something else that they need from you after the interview, but they'll give you a date that you need to have it in by. Make sure you have it in, because if you don't have it in when they tell you to, then you will be disqualified and they'll move on to the next person. It's hard, but make sure that you are being honest. Somebody else was actually supposed to get this apartment right before I did. And the reason that the person didn't, she was able to tell me, was because the person worked for the city. And when she was doing the interview, she was making a certain amount. And then when she got a call back, it turns out that she got a promotion and a raise, which is amazing, right? But she lied about it. And they found out. It's crazy. They're like worse than the FBI. They're gonna find out. They found out, and it disqualified her, and she wasn't even able to make her appeal. So, bad for her, but good for me, because I was next in line for this apartment. Also, be nice to your case manager. They're human too. And I work in a field where, you gotta deal with a lot of different people, and that when somebody is nice to you, you kind of work a little faster and a little harder for them. But when somebody's being an a-hole to you, it slows you down a bit. You know what I mean? So as frustrating as the process gets, remember that that person interviewing you is human. And if you are like attacking them, being harassing, being not so nice to them, then they might, oops, I misplaced your folder. Definitely have faith, be patient. It's a lot easier said than done, I know, but being patient and just kind of waiting it out is better, and it keeps you a little more sane in this process too. And finally, if you've gone through everything and you're at the step of just seeing the apartment, do not turn your nose down at the apartment, no matter what, because clearly you're doing this to get a better apartment or to get an apartment at all, and you're gonna want the apartment, I promise. So, but if you turn down your nose at anything or show even an ounce of that you don't like it, then they're gonna move on to the next person. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, if you live in New York City and you're in this process and you just kind of need to vent, talk it out, have any questions for me, please feel free, comment below, message me. Make sure you check out my IG, you can message me there. And I will see you guys for another video, more than likely a fitness video. Okay, bye.